go home with us. Pretty neat piece. Alright, so show's over. First event's down, as you guys saw. If you didn't, go back and watch the video. We did a car show display. Hunter and I have got this thing out, drove it around. We crushed cars with a dump truck, had all kinds of stuff going on. But I left this thing tired up for a couple weeks here. I was kind of waiting. We're going to do another video in the future here with another YouTuber, but it's not going to happen for another week or two. So took the big tires off of it. I've been studying the videos from the Hall of Fame. There was a lot of good video taken of this thing, a lot of good pictures. It really took really awesome pictures. And I guess whenever I watch a video, I critique myself of what I can do better, because good enough never is. Had a lot of positive comments about how it performed and everything for the first show out with this diesel. Overall, was pretty happy with it. A couple things that we got to improve on. Not saying we're not happy, but we got to improve on. It's still a little bit laggy when it gets warm, and it smokes quite a bit. So the only way to get that out of it with a mechanical truck is you either put more air to it with another turbocharger to make it burn the fuel faster, or we're going to go a little different route. We're actually going to put nitrous on it. So the cool thing about nitrous is you can put it on a button, and when you push that button, stuff happens. That's pretty cool to feel that. So actually, I think before the show, what the deal was, Bevy and I had talked about putting nitrous on it. We decided we were gonna, just to have it on a button to help wake it up a little bit. Now, finally, our nitrous order come in, what we made, and we had nitrous bottles because we run nitrous on Merica. So we got plenty of tanks around, but we needed a good bracket. And the cheap brackets are fine for certain applications on flat ground and stuff, but I just don't think that I want a nitrous bottle bouncing around or coming loose underneath me in a monster truck for sure. So ordered this really good billet aluminum nitrous mount, and it really encloses the bottle well. We're going to install this nitrous. I think where it's going to go is it's going to be right on top of the transmission right here. So it's going to set somewhere, something like that. That's not exact how it's going to go, but there's a big open cavity right there on top of the transmission, so that's a good place for it. And the cool thing about it is wherever this nipple right here ends up on this bottle, it only has to go from there to this solenoid right here. We got the solenoid mounted on the back of the intake. And then from the solenoid, it's only got this distance to go to the intake right here. And that will be about as close to going in, to ingesting it in the engine as you can get. So a couple short lines and we'll be in business there. But the first thing is, I need to get a mount made for that bottle. And I want to mount it on top of the transmission more flat. And I want to also use pretty thick steel, because I don't have a blanket on that trans, and it has a converter in there that's spinning pretty fast, and these transmissions usually don't have anything come out of them, but I want to kind of put a piece of steel around it just as a safety deal. A lot of times you run a blanket on them or have a blow-proof bell housing or whatever, but these bell housings are on the trannies, so I'm going to actually use plate steel, and I'm going to make a guard around it, and then I'm going to mount that bottle to that plate steel. Alright, working on this nitrous mount again. I actually got it all fabbed up now. I've just put a little time in it here and there. So that plate and that bracket all sits right above the transmission right there. But the first thing we got to do is we got to paint that, because it's pretty ugly. And then we'll put the actual nitrous mount on it and then put it in. Painted, got it down in there. Kind of got to weasel it in. It's kind of got a one way it goes in, but it is actually 2 bolts to bolt it in. So that's cool. We're trying to keep this minimal as we can to hold it in. Now Ron's gonna do the honors. He's gonna set the bottle down in it.
Ron's gonna what?
See how it fits down in there. Oh, that's really nice.
That's what we call the money shot.
You gotta spin this down now. So yeah, just
Touch that in your face.
something like that there. Look at that.
Money.
Oh man. How many other people got nitruses on their monster truck, Ron?
I would guess not many.
So what about right under their butt where their seat is?
My last answer still stands. But I mean, at least it saves your butt from the transmission if it wants to grenade.
Yeah, it'll hit the nitrous bottle and then the nitrous bottle will hit my butt.
You know, you gotta win some, lose some.
Yeah. I think I'll let Ron test it out for the first time. So now it's time to hook the plumbing up on the nitrous system since we got the nitrous bottle installed. So I put a line from the bottle to the solenoid, which is a pretty short line. I think it's a foot. So from the solenoid right here to right here in the intake, which is hard to see. This is where the jet's gonna actually go at, which I got in my hand here. That's only a 10-inch line. So we got, I think we got 22 inches of line from the bottle to where it's actually gonna go into the engine at. That's pretty cool. There's not many nitrous systems that are that close because normally the bottle's mounted on the back of the vehicle and the engine's in the front, but everything's in the rear on this. Anyhow, we're gonna try a small jet, hoping that's all it takes to wake this thing up a little bit. The goal is to put it on a button on the steering wheel to where if we come up to a set of cars or a jump or something, and if it's acting a little lazy or a little laggy, just hit that button, perk her up a little bit, you know. So back working on the monster truck here this evening. One of the things I'm doing tonight is I'm taking that power steering pump off and vacuum pump, which is from a stock Dodge truck, and we modified it early on if you watch the videos. And I'm actually going to try replacing that with a power steering pump off an industrial application for a Cummins. So I'll show you that here in a little bit. There she is, that beauty. We're going to keep it around just in case this idea don't work. So after a few frustrations here, I am finally making some progress. So basically there's a fitting here that feeds the back of the oil pump, or the back of the vacuum pump, high pressure oil, and it's right here, and it teed and went down so that it fed the vacuum pump. So I had to come up with a fitting to block that off because this hydraulic pump doesn't need oil fed to it. So I finally found one of those fittings since all the parts stores are closed and it's late at night. Got that going. Now I got my hydraulic pump and I'm ready to put it on, or mock it up I should say. And that is this thing right here. This is an industrial hydraulic pump from, I think they used them on backhoes and all kinds of industrial applications that needed hydraulic power instead of power steering and vacuum. So this is a stock application, which is cool, and I got two of these. But now I need to put it in this location. And I go to put it in there, and it fits halfway. But this nut and key right here, if you can see, sticks way the heck out. It hits the front cover. That's not convenient. So what we're gonna do is, pretty much every time I've started something here, it's turned into a bigger project, but that's how it works. There's a cover on the front of this billet timing case right here, which you can't see it. There's probably no way to get there. But anyhow, there's a cap for it because they drive Waterman gear-driven fuel pumps off the front of some of those cases and pulling applications in certain applications. And we might do that with this sometime too. But right now it's got an electric fuel pump on it. But anyhow, there's an aluminum cap there. I'm going to knock that cap out. That had 3 bolts already took out. That should give clearance for that nut to stick through, and then we got to machine that cap and make a bigger cap so that oil don't come out. Oh yeah, right there, that cap. Basically, that big nut was hitting that cap right there. That cap's not in the road. This thing should fit in there. Oh yeah, that's All right, so finally made a little progress here. Got the hydraulic pump put on after I took that aluminum cap off the front of the timing case. So I got to get that cap. Bevy's probably going to take it and machine it, make it so there's clearance on that thing. And then I got a fitting for the bottom of the hydraulic pump here. So technically the pressure side of the hydraulic pump is hooked up now, if you look right here. So that's the pressure. This is where it's got to feed in. The oil's got to go from a reservoir up in here to down here to the top of this pump to feed so it can pump in. And I don't have a fitting for that. The auto parts stores are having trouble getting stuff right now. So I'm gonna have a fitting welded up for that. We're gonna make it happen anyhow. But right now what I was doing is I got a reservoir right here. I actually bought 2 of these aluminum reservoirs. Not the biggest fan of aluminum because the jarring these things take, jumping and stuff, it could crack. But it's actually held on with hose clamps. So I think it will probably hold up all right. But like I say, I got a spare. But I'm mounting this reservoir up here. I fabbed up a mount real quick. So that reservoir is going to sit right there like that. I got the mount tacked on. I got to finish welding it, put some paint on it, and then yeah, we'll have a reservoir on there. All right, so got the tank mounted right here. I think that turned out pretty well. Like I say, the cool thing about it is it's just held on with a couple clamps. I literally have what would be used as a return normally right here capped off, and that's kind of helping hold it up so it won't slide down. It can't slide past those clamps. It's pretty solid. I think it'll be fine. Time will tell. So got that, got a hose running down here. I'm just waiting on a fitting to feed this hydraulic pump. I got to take it out to the machine shop and get one welded up, because what has to happen here is this is the return from the front end, and this really either needs to feed in up there, which up at the tank to return, or it needs to feed right back into where it suctions out at. And I think I'm going to go with the route of returning where it suctions out, suctions into the pump. I'm going to return it close to the pump. I think it'll help with aeration. If you return it up here, it's going to make the hydraulic fluid aerate just a little bit, I think. So I'm going to have a fitting welded up to hook it in right there, I think, and maybe make it clean and mean. So kind of an out of the place attire for working in the shop this evening, but unfortunately our good friend Link Townsend that owned the Missing Link Jeep, if you've watched the videos, and was always a good friend of mine and my dad's. My whole life I've known the guy ever since I was born, basically. He passed away from cancer. We have a viewing today and a funeral tomorrow. So the Missing Link Jeep is actually over at the funeral home now for the viewing, so I had to dress up, take it in there, go through the viewing. Now we got to go meet with his family again and get it, and then it'll be at the funeral tomorrow and everything. I know Link's watching down on us and smiling that everybody's got together and is getting along, and being able to get all the stuff that he had out and enjoy it and reminisce of all the good times and memories we had with Link. So, but in the meantime, while I was waiting for this viewing to go on, I was working on the monster truck steering wheel, and I got buttons in. I actually was just going to put one button on the steering wheel, but you never know what hand you're going to be grabbing the steering wheel with when you go up the cars, because sometimes you're shifting, sometimes you're running rear steer, and I'm a right-handed person, so hitting the button with the left hand just doesn't feel natural all the time. So here we are. I got 2 buttons on the steering wheel. So I had to make it harder on myself to do this, obviously. Mounted button on both sides. They're both going to do the same thing. They're going to turn that solenoid on right there and inject nitrous into the motor. But I guess I have options this way. So what I've been doing tonight is mounting the buttons, stretching this across. I had to cut it. I got heat shrink butt connectors. I'm going to put heat shrink over top of them and try to make this cord to where it attaches to the truck, to where you can unplug it, take the steering wheel out, lay it down, whatever. All right, guys, so we laid our friend Link to rest today. Was glad to be a part of it and honored to be a part of it. And we lost a really good friend in Link, but he's not suffering anymore. Moving forward, got the buttons on the steering wheel for the monster truck now. I tied both buttons together right here. Made a pigtail for the back. Got weather pack connectors put on. That's pretty cool. That was an option to go that came with it. It's all mounted up, put it in the truck. Maybe Ron will get here in a little bit and we'll test it out. Another thing we got done is our friend Dick Smith out at SMT Performance welded me up a fitting right here. So this fitting has a number 10 AN here, number 8 here, for the hydraulic pump for the hydraulic steering. So we're going to return in this number 8, and it's going to suck it from the reservoir, this number 10 right here, and that'll tie everything together. That was the last piece of that puzzle, so I'm going to get to work on that. Also, since Ron showed up here, we got the steering wheel, and I want to test and see if the nitrous system is working. Actually put some nitrous to it. So we're going to undo the jet, and Ron's going to hold it, and yeah, we're going to see if it works. What are you putting those on for, Ron?
Safety.
I thought it was safety third.
Well, you know, first step is nitrous. Second step is freedom. Safety third.
Yeah. Oh, I heard it, Ron. I heard it. It's got the pressures going to that solenoid. Now we'll see if the buttons work. You ready?
Ready and gonna be.
That's nice, Ron.
Yeah, that mine's getting cold.
So I think that worked all right. Ron says the line's getting cold. So the only thing we can do is take it out and test it at some point in time now.